Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And this is your boy JTG, a.k.a. Jay the God.
Whether you are down the street or anywhere in the Northeast, fans, the day has finally come as we prepare to celebrate 20 years of Boston Wrestling MWF. All-inclusive VIP packages and tickets are on sale for our Back to the 80s WrestleFest 20th anniversary. It is going to be a happening, a VIP exclusive Q&A with the great 80s legends, an autograph and photo fan fest, and professional wrestling so hot it's going to blow the roof off of Memorial Hall. You can get your tickets at Boston Wrestling beginning in 3, 2, 1, go.
Wrestling fans, it's time to rock. WWE legend Marty Jannetty of the Rockers returns for 3 big nights, Wednesday, September the 1st through Friday, September the 3rd. Marty will be taping historical Wrestling Insider episodes, live specials, Insider autograph signings, support wrestling superstars, pre-order autographed 8x10s now over at bostonwrestling.com. This September, get your sunglasses ready. It's time to party with Marty.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to the post WWE Monday Night Raw edition of Wrestling Insider's Monday Night Mission. I'm Dan Marty, joined by former WWF Tag Team Championship manager of Men on a Mission, the one, the only, the man that has nearly blown the roof off of the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. I don't know if he ever blew the roof off of the Amway Center in Orlando, where WWE Raw emanated from tonight, but he is OSCAR, the Vice President of Boston Wrestling Sports, Oscar. Oscar, a pleasure, as always, to have you with us during a very tumultuous time here in Boston wrestling. How in the world are you since we last spoke?
I had to answer your question. Yep, I blew the roof off the Amway Center, but it wasn't the Amway Center back then.
What was it called? Was it just the Orlando Arena back then, I think?
It was the old arena. That's what they called it.
The old arena. Okay, well, that's kind of creative, I guess. I know you created a lot of O's back then, but that's a different story for a different time, I guess. Maybe for the adult version of the Monday Night Mission. But I don't know, Oscar. Things are happening here in Boston wrestling. We had the live, unexpected SummerSlam watch-along from 1988 last night from old Madison Square Garden in your stomping grounds. The fans had a great time. We're going to try and do it again this Sunday night. We're going to do a live watch-along for SummerSlam 89. Feel the heat. I don't know if you were at that one when you were a younger version of you, when you were busy touring the world with your rapping and opening for
My first SummerSlam was 1993. I went to Detroit, but I did not. We didn't do anything that night, and that was the night where I learned one of the most valuable lessons that I learned in life.
And what was that?
Especially about wrestling. Macho Man Randy Savage had got the vibe that I wasn't feeling so hot, that I was down, and the reason I was down was because, it was SummerSlam. I wanted to get out there. I wanted to, but we wasn't on the card that night. But we was, but we came. They had us come in anyway because we had been on a slight tour that led into Detroit. So I had the bug. I wanted to get in front of a big crowd. SummerSlam, ooh. And Macho Man Randy Savage was like, "What's wrong, brother?" I was like, "Well, I'm a little bummed out that, we're not going out there tonight, And he said, "Listen, the longer it takes for you to do stuff, the longer you're going to be here." And that is the lesson I learned that night. And you and I have talked about this before. That was the lesson I learned. I try to teach these younger cats from the lesson I learned, because that is so true. I've talked to you about all the mistakes that are made, the people that go out there and they do everything and there's nothing else for them to do, and they can't go nowhere but down or out.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, sometimes you have to look at it. You're hired to be fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. And as you see, half of NXT gone, but we'll get into that.
We're definitely going to get into that. A lot going on in the world of WWE, but a lot, as we noted, going on here in Boston Wrestling. The VIP packages are flying when we celebrate our 20th anniversary back to the 80s WrestleFest on Saturday night, November the 13th, from the historic Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Discounted VIP packages and tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. But, Oscar, we have run into, yet again, another scandal with the heathen that runs the building, only known as Piggott. I think I don't know how much of this I told you, but yet again, they are trying to hustle us and nickel and dime us and trying to force us into renting excess police officers. And it's turning into a whole big to-do again. Unfortunately, the last event we had at the hall prior to coronavirus, we had to get the mayor and City Hall involved with that, and thankfully it worked out. And unfortunately, because of Piggott's actions, we had to reach out to the mayor yet again with a very lengthy email describing some of these frustrations, when simply, I guess there's one sentence in the email that sums it up best, Oscar, and I'd like your opinion on maybe this email if you have a chance to read it, but the one sentence is, our expectations are simple. Pay what we owe, show up, set up, present a private free event for kids from Special Olympics, Make-A-Wish, Big Brothers, et al., clear the hall, have our larger event with 80s WWF legends at night, and go home. Anything on top of what was described in this sentence is a waste of time and energy. And believe me, there's been a lot of wasting of time and a lot of wasting of energy with this Piggott. Did you meet Piggott back when you were with us at Memorial Hall? No.
The name does not ring a bell. No. I really don't think so.
You think Michael Jackson had a version of the song instead of Beat It? He had one called Piggott.
Okay, so
how would you deal with Piggott?
Okay, I don't know. I don't know the full story, so.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to clump us in with MMA and boxing events, but what I said to her was, I also said in this email, I said, what we do cannot be compared to MMA and boxing events. Believe it or not, while Batman and Joker were extreme rivals in production, Adam West was not looking to harm Cesar Romero.
Okay. This is where it gets confused because I have a fraction of the story.
Yeah.
Start from the beginning. What the hell happened? What's going on? And what do you need?
Well, it just seems like every time everything is in place, rolling and ready to go, we always pay eons in advance. I won't get into some of the financial numbers, but, back on October 31st, 2019, she received the money for this event. That obviously got delayed because of coronavirus. That's not her fault, but she was demanding paperwork, and, the Chairman Manolian is a busy man during the day. He cannot change his schedule around to accommodate her schedule, and I suffer from CRPS, and, we had the I guess we'll call them construction issues the past 2 weeks here at the studio. I couldn't leave the building just to run down there to accommodate her, and when you ask for a time, she says, I'm in and out all day. So, that's kind of difficult to narrow down. Then out of the blue, she texted the chairman saying, we're going to need 4 police details for this event. When in every venue, in every city, in every state we've run in since 2001, we've had 1 police officer. And as I realized going through my notes for the 2019 Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive event we had there at the hall, when I had to reach out to her mayor, I should say the mayor of Melrose, who was her brother-in-law, it was the same thing. Out of the blue, she just demanded these details, and I let the mayor know what I thought about certain things, and all of a sudden, magically, her entire tone changed, and there was no need for these extra police officers to stand around and text and watch a wrestling show and pretty much do nothing for the duration of it. I realize we need to have one. That's certainly for the fans' well-being. I think it's a good thing, but I certainly do not think we need an increase from 1 to 4. I think that's a bit much. So I had.
Okay, how about if you offer to split the difference and just go 2?
No, it's a wasted. We don't need it. If we had to do it anywhere else other than this one venue, I would agree with you. But we've had to do it nowhere. So why should we have to do it in this one place? As we had a meeting here with some of the studio folk, they said it comes across as discriminatory. Why should we be the only ones that have to?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Tell me why,
The
brother.
reason why I say split the difference is because it will fast track and quell this whole bit of nonsense. No, you don't need to. But in the spirit of dispelling a problem that can be dragged on for weeks that you do not need, sometimes it's better to bite the bullet and compromise.
So let me ask you this, Oscar. Why isn't it in her contract that we have to sign for each event that we needed the extra details?
Okay.
It's not in the contract.
What I'm trying to tell you is, at this point, that don't matter. It's not the contract. That's why you'll be able to get away with 2 instead of the 4 that she's demanding. Sometimes you have got to be the bigger man because you got too much to do. If you don't do that, and you keep insisting on 4, you're going to keep writing emails, you're going to keep having ridiculous meetings, and the friction going to go all the way up to the event. And she's going to give you problems until she's got the power to give you problems.
She does.
I'll put it like this. She got the leverage. You don't. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, you know what? I think it puts her brother-in-law, who is the mayor, in an awkward situation where, it's not just a city employee that he's getting an email about. It's his sister-in-law.
In order not to do that, and really get him involved, because see what you're doing is, if you don't find a way to at least compromise, you're going to drag this out all the way till November.
Well, usually what happens is she comes up with these different scenarios days before the event. And that's when it causes an extreme amount of stress. As I said to Chairman Manolian, I said, I think the best thing to do is let's resolve all this BS now. So come October and November,
right.
The only thing we have to focus on is the event.
That's how you resolve it. So it's in the can and it's, and it's off your plate. And then you can just concentrate on everything else. Because if not, you're going to be dealing with an unnecessary issue for months on end.
Well, you know what? You seem to be the voice of reason. Maybe I'll give her your number. But I tell you this.
I'll be more than glad to tell her. I'm the vice president. I'm going to be like, let's split the difference.
You want it to? No. I disagree with that. It is a complete and utter waste of money. We don't need it.
It is. No, it's not a matter of what we need, or it don't matter whether it's not a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of putting something in the trash bin.
Why should we have to charge our fans more money to accommodate police officers we don't need and that aren't in her contract?
Well, you might not even want to charge fee. You might want to eat the difference because you want to, like I said, you want to close a problem out.
Well,
she might win with the 2 officers, but it's not about that. It's about taking a headache off your brain.
Well, and I mean, even the simple things, Oscar. Every fan that comes in, as you know, we have to charge them an extra $1 for the Memorial Hall Restoration Fund because the building is old and it's falling apart. As I noted, it took us 9 years to be able to rent this facility that was losing $70,000 of taxpayer money every year. It was an embarrassment, but they didn't want to rent anything out other than classical music concerts and things like that. So we have no problem having someone set aside $1 from each ticket sold to give to her. But the problem is, again, how rude she is about being given her free money. I was personally talked down to like a dog because listen to this, Oscar. I need your opinion on this, brother. She wanted $1 from each ticket sold. So what I did was I gave her $1 from each ticket sold in $1 denominations because we separated $1 from each ticket sold. And she exploded. She threw a pen at me.
All right.
I'm supposed to, we're going to pay to rent a building to have Bic pens hummed at us in her dilapidated hall?
Number one, in the future, since you know who and what you're dealing with, you might want to have this event someplace else. This is not where I'm telling you. This is not worth the trouble. But at this point, you're stuck and locked in this situation. So you have got to do everything you can do to make it work. Because, and I'm gonna be frank with you, if she put the kibosh on the whole thing, whether it's legal or not, she still got the power to do it. we gonna be screwed, and you don't want that.
Well, like I said, there is no rule we have broken. It's these things that add up. So as I noted, at the last event, she told the chairman, like he was a dog, send someone to Shaw's to get larger bills. I mean, can you imagine talking to someone like that that's paying money to rent your hall?
I can't imagine you knew you knew who this person was, but you made a deal with the devil anyway.
Pig it.
Okay, you knew who she was. You knew how she was. Yet you went into it anyway. So now you got to deal with all the shit that come with it until the 14th of November.
Well, what I put in here was I said there is nothing in the contract about denominations. So on November 13th, we'll be providing $1 bills unless we have larger denominations available.
Okay.
And I want to throw another one out at you, Oscar.
Yeah.
You know, they have this requirement that all of her Ocean State job lot quality plastic folding tables be covered by tablecloths. But the thing is, this is a venue that has weddings and receptions and things like that. They don't have their own tablecloths. She wants us to go out and find 30 tablecloths to throw on these Ocean State job lot quality tables. And again, it's the only facility in any city, in any state we've ever run in that has this requirement but doesn't have their own tablecloths. It's absurd.
Well, it might be absurd, but it's a long time between now and November. Get the damn tablecloths.
Well,
Don't argue about stuff that's not worth arguing about.
I said we've donated so much money to her restoration fund, it would be nice if the hall would buy a couple dozen tablecloths.
Okay, the hall's not going to buy it. They not going to do it.
Well, what do they do? What do we get for this rent, Oscar? What are we getting for the rent?
You get to go in the building and have a damn show. That's what you get.
Well,
and you get the lesson that you don't need to go there no damn more.
Well, you know, Piggott and I actually had a meeting with the former mayor's assistant a couple of years back, and even that, she tried to dominate the entire meeting. I walked in, she was there before me, early, of course, and she went, I refuse to talk about anything from the past. I'm going to talk about the future. And you know what? I tried to leave the meeting optimistic, and look at what happened going forward from there. So it's just it's too much. As I said in the end of the email, I think you'll get a kick out of this one. I said, pre-COVID, Dr. David Reese was the attending psychiatrist at Melrose Wakefield Hospital. With these needless clashes, thank God we have him.
Okay. Well, it's just like the story of Las Vegas. Bugsy Siegel told Meyer Lansky and Charlie Luciano it cost $1 million. Then it was $2 million. Then it was $3 million. And Lansky told the commission, okay, we're stuck now. We got to do whatever we got to do within reason. I would say that on your side, within reason to make it work. Because we're in it now, all right? We're in it now. So we got to do whatever. We got to make compromises, and we got to do whatever we got to do to make it work, because November 13th is coming.
The fans just want some great wrestling and some great legends. They want to go back to the 80s.
It's our responsibility to bring them back.
Well, I tell you this, I'd like to send her back to the 80s and keep her there, but I guess that's a different story for a different time.
I would love to send her I'd love to send her somewhere too, but we can't. Well, so we gotta be, we gotta bend a little.
No, I won't even. Oh, Oscar, I tell you, the comeback that I had to that one, you know what, I don't want to say that on the podcast.
Yeah, I know what you wanted to say, but I'm going to say it again. We got to bend.
Oh, boy, I tell you. All right, we got a lot going on in the King of Sports Professional Wrestling, Oscar. Aside from this, we are, despite all the nonsense we're talking about on this show to give the fans an inside look at the crazy that goes on in producing these fantastic events. Look at what's going on in NXT. You want to talk about a world of crazy. 13 more releases in the rumor mill stating that NXT is going to go back to become what it originally was, a developmental system with quote-unquote no more midgets. WWE, Vince McMahon, they want box office attractions, bigger guys. They don't want people starting in their 30s. What is your thought about the landscape in NXT right now?
You know, I never understood. See, I always saw NXT as college and WWE being real life. When they started having NXT stars that were just as good as WWE and coming on Monday Night Raw from NXT and beating the main roster guys on occasion, that's when I was like, oh nah, this is supposed to be this college. This is supposed to be the developmental show, but a good show.
Yeah.
Then they started doing that. And so now I'm like, okay, 12, 13 releases, ain't that like half the damn roster?
Oh, no, not even close. NXT is probably, well, the Performance Center is probably has to have around 100 talents there. If you remember, Vince and some of the other higher powers went down to scout at the Performance Center not too long ago, and I think they came to the conclusion that was pretty obvious. They have a lot of small guys that they don't look at as top-tier players on Raw and SmackDown. I look at it like this, though, Oscar, and I'm going to throw this thought at you, and you can take it however you like. In my opinion, USA is paying you a pretty hefty fee for this developmental program to be on Tuesday night on the channel. Why not keep NXT as an almost quote-unquote underground independent wrestling type promotion, and then for the guys that you look at as young and have size to be potential Raw and SmackDown superstars, to be potential WrestleMania main eventers, don't expose them on the WWE NXT TV show. Just keep them to the side training at the Performance Center in Orlando until they feel it's time for them to come on up to one of the main brands. I think you can serve both purposes. I think you can scout and try and maintain these larger, hungry young athletes of great size. Don't put them on the TV show, but yet you can appease an audience that likes the younger, smaller guys, that wrestle the style that they wrestle in 2021. And it's almost like a movie company. They have movies that come out rated PG. They have movies rated PG-13. They have movies that come out that are rated R. Why not have this quote-unquote indie-centric promotion on Tuesday night and let Raw and SmackDown be the sports entertainment versions of WWE? Why try and do away with something that, in the worst of times, they have about 600,000 people a week that are tuning in to enjoy?
Well, from a producer standpoint, they want to make sure that they present these talents because that's their safety net to have a decent program. If you do it the way you said you're doing it, which is not a bad idea, it's a roll of the dice every week. Can you develop these people as stars that people want to come see and people want to watch on television? I know that people are going to be interested in the talent that you suggest to be put aside. So yeah, the safe bet is put them in rotation because they're going to make a better program.
Well, I'll give you an example. Austin Theory on NXT. I think he's an exceptional talent. He has decent size. I don't know if if he looks maybe bigger than he is, where he's with a lot of the smaller NXT guys on the TV show. But every time they do something foolish with him on NXT, I say out loud almost, this is a guy they need to protect. There's someone that they should not put in comedy situations on the NXT show, because then when he goes up to the main brand, he's already going to be looked at as an imbecile. Hide him until they feel like he's ready to contribute on Raw and SmackDown. When it comes to the guys like Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, so many of the quote-unquote midgets that they don't want more of, let them be the marquee attractions on the NXT TV show. They're great athletes. They wrestle a style that's perhaps different than the bigger guys, but you know what? Variety is the spice of life. Again, there's been times when NXT has drawn over 1 million people.
No,
So I don't
agree
think
with
you do away with that TV show completely, especially where USA is giving you guaranteed money every week.
No, I think Gargano and Ciampa. To me, I think that they're wonderful talents. I don't take nothing away from them. But the reason why I use these other guys is because I don't want to lose sleep Monday night wondering if they're going to be able to carry my program Tuesday. Like I said, I'm pretty comfortable, with the bigger talent fortifying the brand.
Yeah.
So I would not take the chance. And the reason why now more than ever, there's too much to contend with.
Mm-hmm.
You got AEW kicking ass. You got Impact not doing bad at all. So now is not the time to experiment with the brand like that. If nobody else was on TV, then yeah, because fans are gonna tune in. They want to see wrestling. Ain't nothing else to watch. But now you got the real competition out there. So you have got to make the brand competitive, whatever it is you got to do.
Well, NXT has some of the best professional wrestlers in the world in 2021. I just think if you brought some of the names we mentioned up to Raw or SmackDown, I'll mention one of my favorites that I enjoy watching, match for match, in and out, is Kyle O'Reilly, formerly of the Undisputed Era Factor. But I mean, he has a very bland look. There isn't a lot of fire and passion behind his promos. I think a lot of those guys we mentioned, if they come up to Raw and SmackDown, they turn into enhancement talents. Or they're on the show main event on the network, or they sit in catering and eventually release.
But see, here's the thing, though. I mean, they can go up to Raw and SmackDown. They certainly got the talent to do that. But ask yourself a question. Okay, Johnny Gargano go to Raw with everything going on Raw, with all the veterans they still trying to keep around. He go to Raw. What's he gonna do when he gets there?
Imagine him working a guy like McIntyre or Lashley, he'd look like a little child.
Right.
And he'd be, no matter how good he is in the ring, he'd be exposed as being a very small person. I think the problem began with I think it was the NXT TakeOver in Your House when they had Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, defend the title, I think, in a 5-person match. And all 5 of the guys he worked with were of smaller stature. I mean, he looked like a giant. Then he came up to WWE Raw to work Jeff Hardy, and he didn't look like he had great size. So I think that, to me, exposed how small a lot of the NXT top-tier talent are. And I don't know how Vince McMahon could have been surprised once he went there in person to see it, but apparently he was. You'd think he'd be watching a product on the USA Network a little more closely, or maybe it's just he'd never seen them live in person and realized how big they may have been. Tony, the issues we've had with Tony Atlas. We don't need to go into that. But one thing that Tony said that makes a lot of sense is when you see a lot of these talents right now in 2021 compared to, quote-unquote, yesteryear or the good old days, however you want to phrase it, they are not physically impressive to see, whether it be in person or even on television. And as great as Adam Cole is, I mean, he looks like he weighs about 175 pounds. He does not come across as a fearsome, dangerous individual.
So in that case, what you got to do is you got to keep him over in NXT where he can be in a product where he looks like he belongs.
I agree with you 110%. I think NXT, the TV show, should exist to appeal to the fan base they have right now. I would not put anyone they think has the quote-unquote 6 foot tall and up potential that's under the age of 30 to go to Raw and SmackDown. I would keep them away from that television show completely. NXT, once they go back to running house shows, let those guys get work on the road on those Florida loops that they do down there in Florida. That's good experience for them. But don't put them on that television show to have them wrestle the quote-unquote little guys, if that's the route that WWE wants to go. I think, like I said, it can serve 2 purposes. I agree with Vince McMahon. I think overall, the superstars that they have right now have shrunk a great deal. I mean, what happened to the big guys? someone like X-Pac, and you know Sean, I mean, he would be one of the bigger guys right now on that roster if he was around.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, and he was the little
Because-
guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
Do you think I'm wrong on that, or do you agree with me?
No, I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
But like I said, so I mean, what has to happen? Bottom line is, talent wise, you have to do whatever it is you have to do right now to make all these products work. SmackDown, Raw, NXT, because AEW ain't playing. They knocking on WWE's door, whether they want to admit it or not. I mean, what is going to happen when CM Punk show up? We talked about this last week.
Yeah, and it's coming to the United Center in just I think this Friday night. Am I correct?
That
Yeah,
is going to, that is going to shake things.
Oh no, I'm
up
sorry.
Considerably.
I'm sorry. AEW Rampage debuts this Friday night at 10 o'clock on TNT after SmackDown. I think the United Center event is on the 20th. I apologize to the fans. I don't want to give them any inaccurate information. But it's going to be a wild time in AEW. I mean, they have Daniel Bryan supposedly in their clutches, CM Punk in their clutches. I imagine Bray Wyatt has a 90-day no-compete clause. I think he could be,
Where? What? Speaking of AEW, where the hell is their office? Because I got
Jacksonville.
I gotta see if I can get some tickets.
Jacksonville.
You got the main number?
I have an email.
All right, yeah. Send me that.
I'll send that to you after we're done taping, and you can.
I gotta get some tickets.
I thought you were worried about getting out of the house.
I'm worried about getting out the house.
Yeah, I thought you were worried about the Delta virus.
I ain't worried about a damn thing.
Oh, all right.
What you talking
Well,
about?
I stand correct. Well, I sit corrected because I'm not standing right now. I sit corrected.
I got both my shots, and before even there was shots, I wasn't worried about. I told you I went there. I took a vacation when the coronavirus was at its peak.
All right, I'm not trying to get you worked up, Oscar, please.
No,
But
I'm just saying.
I'm teasing.
Hell no.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for AEW. You know, it's nice to see that there is at least one wrestling company growing in momentum right now. WWE has been declining for the better part of 20 years. Impact Wrestling is what it is. At least it's still alive, which is a good thing. I mean, Ring of Honor barely has a pulse. Major League Wrestling, you know, same thing. It's kind of difficult to find for a lot of people. You know, I wish them well. It's nice that they're giving people jobs. You know, I think any company that's giving wrestlers jobs is a great thing. But AEW is the one with the momentum right now that no other company has. But, you know, and WWE is the one with the money. So it's kind of, well, not to say that AEW doesn't have money if they want to tap into the Khan family resources, but just based upon what they're making from TNT for their television programs, and, you know, the revenue that they're generating now from ticket sales and action figures. And I know they're getting into the video game genre as we speak. So it's an exciting time for AEW to watch a company grow. As I've noted before, there's things on AEW every week. I think there's some absolute killer segments that are fantastic. But there's a couple of segments each week I look at, and it's like, how did this ever make it to national television? I get confused by it.
Everybody's going to have that problem. And also,
growing pains.
Another thing, you know, they into the toy business. I was at the Wrestling Universe last winter, and AEW had they had some pretty good looking action figures.
Yeah, they have a nice line out there right now, and very hard to find in stores. So if you do get your hands on them, you should pick them up, not wait. Wrestling figures in general have been kind of hard to find ever since Toys R Us closed down, but that's just one thing I've noticed.
The Wrestling Universe store, for all you fans listening out of New York, Comac, Long Island, and somewhere else in Long Island. They got 2 locations in Long Island. Jack Ballion runs the place.
Well, Google it, folks. Google it.
He got everything.
You know, it's funny. fans that listen to these shows, they know I'm tough on the women's wrestling sometime. I go back to the rating. I go back to the rating that WWE pulled the week they debuted. Give Divas a chance. They debuted Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair all in the same week. 3.5 million people watched Raw that week back in July of 2015. And now here we are in August of 2021, and half of that audience has vanished and gone on to other things. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. While I think the women have been overpushed to a nauseating degree at times, they said give divas a chance, not give them a third of the show. They're not the only problem. And I think one of the problems is there's been a lot of bad creative, as we've seen over the past few years. They have too many people involved in the creative process that aren't familiar with what our genre is and are trying to present the genre as something wrestling fans enjoy, and they don't, so they tune out. But I think another problem is what Vince McMahon has tapped into. A lot of his featured superstars that he puts on television, while they may have extreme athletic talent, they are not all that physically impressive, like Tony Atlas said. So I think that visit to the Performance Center, actually, they came away with something good. I think it's a good idea that they're going to go out above and beyond and try and recruit these guys that are in their 20s, that are big, that they can make superstars out of on Raw and SmackDown, which is their bread and butter, guys that they can put in feature matches on WrestleMania is what they want. But at the same time, while I think that's a good idea, I don't think they should castrate what the NXT TV show is. They have a cult following. It may not be the number that a Raw or a SmackDown pulls in, but it has a nice fan base. Their house shows are excellent. Their NXT TakeOver pay-per-views or specials, however you want to describe them, are always stand out and exceptional. So, I think something good came out of it. I hope they don't turn it into something bad, maybe is the way I'm going to word it.
Well, as far as talent goes, they have created the ultimate machine. And what I mean by that is, okay, somebody get hurt or somebody get quit or somebody quit or get fired at WWE, then they could always go to the NXT to replace that person if they need to.
Right.
If all the NXT people caught the coronavirus, God forbid, they got an endless pool of talent out at the Performance Center to replace everybody on the spot.
Right.
So, I mean, the cookie cutter is endless.
Well, it's a thinning pool, though. There has been those, massive chunks of releases in 2020 and now 2021. This weekend, we had 13 more NXT talent releases. Some of them I really wasn't all that familiar with. The three that stood out to me, I'll run by you. Bronson Reed, who I thought was a guy that looks like he belongs on national television, and he sent out quite the tweet to all the other Major League Wrestling promotions once his release was announced. I think that one might have been a mistake. He might not be a great mouthpiece, but that's why you develop managers for him. Mercedes Martinez, who competed here in Boston Wrestling MWF, she was part of the failed Retribution faction at one point on the main brand, and was one of the featured female talents in NXT. I was a little surprised to see that. She is a little long in the tooth. I think she might actually be, if not my age, maybe just a little bit older. And then we had Bobby Fish, who was part of the Undisputed Era faction, released, one of the big merchandise sellers in the company, even in the top 10, outselling a lot of WWE superstars sometimes, the Undisputed Era faction.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you care to know why the 1, 2, 3 Kid was created?
Tell us.
And this is the reason why, and I'm asking you, I'm bringing this up because the Johnny Garganos and the Tommaso Ciampas and all the small people that you mentioned and you worry about coming to the main roster and not making it, why it don't matter. Let me tell you why it doesn't matter. That it's all going to work out in the end, no matter what happens.
All right.
Because let me tell you, when it comes to WWE, what you got to understand is the house always wins.
Right.
Everybody might be on a roll for the longest time, and they might be down, but the house always wins. That company is going to flourish, and they're going to be strong and make more money than anybody in the end. Now, I digress. Let me tell you why the 1, 2, 3 Kid was created.
It's here. I want to see if it's different than my interpretation. I want to hear
It
yours.
was Ludwig Borger that told me this, and I couldn't believe what was coming out of his mouth, but it was something that made sense. The 1, 2, 3 Kid was created. Vince was trying to show all the bigger guys and the whole roster that I could take a scrawny little kid, make him a star. So I don't need none of y'all. I can take anybody and put the machine behind them and make him into something. That was the reason why the 1, 2, 3 Kid was created.
Interesting. The way it was described to me is not all that different. It was more along the lines of he was created to go over on Razor Ramon 1, 2, 3, in that anything could happen on Monday Night Raw. Anybody could beat anybody. Anything could happen at any time on this brand new show on the USA Network from the Manhattan Center, back when that show was on fire in that tiny little building that I love to watch so much. And maybe that's him right now. But, you were there. You were interacting with superstars that were on the roster at the time. I'm sure there was something to that, too. Vince wanted to show he could make a superstar out of virtually everyone. The problem is, if you have one, I think it's fantastic. If it was me, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'm going to continue to say it, I would be grooming Ricochet to be the Rey Mysterio of the next generation. He's young enough. He's got a great look. He's maybe, if not one of the best athletes on the roster right now. He does amazing things. Kids love him. If you push him right, he's going to move merchandise. And they've used him for the majority of the time as an enhancement talent or in catering. And I just think that's a sin. He's one of the most exciting professional wrestlers in the world to watch. And what they've done with him, for the most part, he's had his moments when they've first they tried to team him with Aleister Black in a tag team that had no chemistry, but they did get on a WrestleMania. He's worked with Sheamus in U.S. title programs. I think he was the U.S. champion when he feuded with AJ Styles in 2019. He was a guy that Paul Heyman was really behind when Paul Heyman was the executive producer of Raw, but once he left and Vince McMahon took the reins back, there's been next to nothing for Ricochet, and I think that's a sin. It's a sin to the fan base.
The way Vince looks at it, and I'm pretty sure that this the reason why Ricochet is not getting this push is because there are too many seasoned veterans that still have viability, and those are the eggs that I'm putting in the basket right now. Now, when those guys start to get old, or they start to get hurt, or anything else, and Ricochet's still around, then I can take Ricochet off the shelf and do anything. But right now, the money is with your Randy Ortons. The money is with your John Cena's. The money is with your Rey Mysterios, and so forth.
And everybody you just named is in their 40s, some of whom are closer to 50 than 40. So, John Cena isn't going to be around full time. I think it's fun that he's back for the summer, and I think it's really cool that he's doing house shows. But Ray, I think he's closer to 50 than 40. His son, I wouldn't even have him on television. You talk about physically unimpressive. Nothing against him. He might be a fine human being, but I would have him at the Performance Center training and lifting weights. He's an embarrassment.
I'm not impressed by that either.
And then you have Ricochet sitting in catering. In your opinion, what would you do with Ricochet if you were the booker?
I wouldn't do nothing right now.
You wouldn't do anything with him.
I would save Ricochet until I can't get no more. I'll put it like this. I'll put it like this. Vince the Pimp, we all the hoes. Until the hoes ain't making no money at the track no more, I'm going to go to catering and get this new fine bitch. But until then, keep her eating. Keep her where she's at until these other bitches that I got on the track ain't making me no damn money no more.
Well, Ricochet's in his prime. Why waste his prime years having him sit in catering? If you're not going to do anything with him, they should have just left him in NXT.
Yeah, because in my mind, like I said, I'm Vince right there.
Yeah.
In my mind, he got 5 more prime years left. And why risk him getting hurt now? Or why risk him, anything like that when I don't need him right now?
Well, I am a Ricochet supporter. If I ever wound up in that company, he is someone I would constantly try to come up with creative things for him to do, because it's a waste. I mean, even like I said, he's received some television time recently in the program with Sheamus, but it's the path to nowhere at the end of the day. He's someone that should be one of the faces of the company. He should be the small guy, the underdog that everybody roots for the next 10 years. And for them not to do that is a sin.
The problem, like I said, the problem with that, we just said it. You still got Rey Mysterio. You don't need two of them.
Well, he's on SmackDown, to be fair.
But when Rey Mysterio is gone, when Rey is gone, then you can do that. But
all right, and Ricochet will be pushing 40 by that point.
Yeah, well.
So you're just going to waste someone's career? It's ridiculous.
Hopefully he'll still have the chops. Hopefully he'll still have the chops to be what he is today. I'm definitely gambling on that, but I don't need two small guys, at the forefront right now.
All right, before the break, Oscar, I just want to ask you, Bobby Fish, Undisputed Era, were you surprised by that release where he was involved in a faction that moved a lot of merchandise? Again, a smaller guy, 44 years old. He competed here in Boston Wrestling right down the street at Memorial Hall at one point.
Let me tell you.
All right.
I'm still shocked about Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. So
you don't care about Bobby Fish.
Don't ask me about nobody else. I'm not. I feel like this, after those two, I'm not surprised if John Cena get his walking paper.
I don't think we're going to see that happening, Oscar. Come on now. I don't know what you're smoking over there, brother.
No, I'm saying nothing surprises me anymore.
All right, well.
A guy headline WrestleMania, and then after he has a lot.
And then, a year later, he's gone. He wins the World Championship to end WrestleMania, and a year later, he's a free agent. But before we go to the break, Oscar, any of those talents you'd like to see here in the MWF, Boston Wrestling, in the near future? If Bobby Fish, especially if he moved back to New York, we'd love to have Bobby here in the MWF. If John Cena Sr. continues to try and expand this fabulous women's wrestling promotion. Mercedes Martinez was from Connecticut. She actually, for all the fans that say I knock women's wrestling so much and I'm not the biggest fan of it, I ask you to go back to October of 2002, live in Wakefield, Massachusetts. The main event that night was Mercedes Martinez against Talia, who went on to become Velvet Sky and TNA Impact. So we have had women here in this company, some fine ladies, as a matter of fact. I just like good women's wrestling, not all women's wrestling. But any of those talents, would you like to see them here in Boston Wrestling?
Whatever we can afford.
Oscar's ready to go to the clearance section, folks, before he goes to the prime material. All right, right now, folks, we'll take a brief time out, check out some of our friends, some of the cool things we got going on here in the world of Boston Wrestling. We'll be back with the man on a mission after this brief timeout. Tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com for our 20th anniversary Back to the 80s WrestleFest, Saturday, November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Mass. The World Wrestling Federation was live at Madison Square Garden in New York City Friday, August the 9th, 1996. In the opening contest, Justin Hawk Bradshaw beat Aldo Montoya. The Godwins with the win over the New Rockers. Wildman Mark Mero defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Mankind victorious over Jake the Snake Roberts. Psycho Sid battled Vader to a double countout. Yokozuna replacing Ahmed Johnson beat Owen Hart. WWF World Champion Shawn Michaels retained the title over Goldust. WWF Tag Team Champions, the Smokin' Guns, retained the titles over the Body Donners. Savio Vega with the win over Davey Boy Smith. And The Undertaker defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin via disqualification. If you were at MSG Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports and the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Here's your chance to own a piece of history from the 2020 WWE Draft. On the second night, October the 12th, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss unleashed hell on Andrade and Zelina Vega. This limited edition 11x14 collector's poster is number 26 of only 50 made, personally signed by both The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, direct from friends at WWE. Comes with certificate of authenticity hologram on the poster itself, suitable for framing. You'll also receive a bonus autographed mystery photo and an on-air shout-out as our thanks to you. Get this ultra-rare autographed Fiend and Alexa Bliss poster now. Wrestling fans, especially here in the Boston area, we want to thank our great friends at Red Rose for their support for all of our charitable endeavors and programming efforts. Red Rose is 2 years young and extremely thankful for all the support they've had from our neighbors here in Melrose and beyond for an amazing first 2 years. Red Rose thanks Melrose and all of the first responders who have fought the good fight and have never given up hope during these unprecedented times. We did it together. Follow Red Rose on Facebook for their anniversary special, facebook.com/Red Rose Melrose. You'll be glad you did. Open until 2 a.m. Red Rose will give you fresh, piping hot, mouth-watering food that'll put an ear-to-ear smile on even the toughest critic's face. Check out their full menu online at redrosema.com or give them a call, 781-620-1889. All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to Wrestling Insiders Monday Night Mission. I'm Dan Marty, along with the host with the most, the man that blew the roof off of arenas around the country, around the globe, former WWF Tag Team Championship manager of Men on a Mission. I could only be talking about Oscar. Again, Oscar, it is such a tremendous introduction we give you for a man that only has 5 letters in his name.
I want to see, the thing is, though, the reason why don't sweat the techniques, because everything you say is true.
You know what? We don't lie here on this program. That is absolutely correct.
I mean, it's all true.
All right, Oscar.
You know what? Wait.
What do we got? What?
Big announcement.
What's the big announcement?
Yeah, I was talking to you about this for a while, and I got into the entertainment business at the age of 18.
Yeah.
My dream going into the business was to be a recording artist.
Okay.
That didn't happen. I got sidelined. I'm in the wrestling business. Hell, 40 years later, I'm on the radio with you as a former wrestling star. Making records, what my dream was, the reason I got into the entertainment business, always eluded me. But today, I'm proud to announce I do have a recording contract.
Oh, wait a minute.
My first single is out, Socrates Cafe. I sent it to you.
When?
Socrates Cafe.
When did you send it to me?
I sent it to you about a week. Gotta be a good week ago. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you again.
How did you send it to me?
I sent the video. I sent it to your messenger.
On Facebook?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have to go back and look. I don't remember getting it. It has been a crazy couple weeks, but I don't remember getting it.
I will send it to you now. I have a 14-song album. The album will be out September 9th. It's called The First Realm. I got 27,000 hits on YouTube.
Well, we're going to have to share the link.
It is on every platform there is. Pandora, Amazon, Apple, the single. You can hear it on Pandora, Amazon, Apple, Tidal. Wherever music is downloaded, they spared no expense getting it, and I'm just proud of it.
What is the name of it again?
Socrates Cafe is the name of the song. Just on its way to you right now.
Wow. Well, you know what, folks? For those that are watching on YouTube, we are going to put the link in the description box below. So check out that song. You know what I think might be cool, Oscar? And I don't know if I should say this on the air as I'm kind of thinking out loud. Back to the 80s WrestleFest event is kind of jam-packed, but maybe at one of the other events we're working on outside of that, maybe we could do like before the live wrestling event for the VIPs, a little mini concert with you.
Okay. You know,
I leave that at your discretion. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud.
The answer is I would love to do that, but I got handlers, so you would have to contact my handlers.
I got to talk to your people.
You got to talk to my people. I actually got people.
Now, what about Reese's Pieces? Would they have to talk to your people?
Yeah, Reese's Pieces got to talk to my people.
Now,
I can't even entertain them at the hotel room until they talk.
I am anxious to see this song. I am anxious to hear the music. I think it would be really cool if we set up something like that. I think it might make for a fun event for those, that want to go above and beyond seeing the live wrestling show. If we had a miniature concert to go along with it for VIPs, with you singing, I think you just said there's 17 songs?
I got 14 songs on the album.
Even if you did maybe like 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that, I think that would be a heck of a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun.
But we got to talk to your people.
You got to talk to my people.
They're not like Reese's people, though, are they?
Nah, I have the executive producer of the album. I got a publicist. I got a lawyer, artist management guy, and the distribution company for the record. So maybe we could rent out Memorial Hall with Piggott. You could have the whole place to yourself. All right, well, maybe not. But no, you always surprise me, brother. You're always up to something. You're always continuing to push and get your name out there. That's why these podcast platforms are so great to keep people's names relevant. Now you're out in Hollywood again. You're working in the music industry again after so long. You had your big run as Casanova Ace when you were opening for Andrew Dice Clay back in the 80s and the early 90s. I mean, the folks at home that only know you from wrestling, they don't know that Hollywood career. Did you get the song?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the song? The video.
Yes,
video.
I got it. I just opened my Facebook. Yep, I see it right there.
Okay, do me a favor. World premiere it. It's only a couple of minutes. Play the song. Here it is, y'all. Socrates Cafe.
Do you want me to play the actual music video or just the song?
Play the video.
Wrestling fans, right now, check it out. Casanova Race and DJ Staunch. It's Socrates Cafe.
Fantasy or reality? It is what it is, possibility. Fantasy or reality? It is what it is, possibilities.
Let me tell you about this cat I know, Professor Bo Persico. We were hanging out at Socrates Cafe. What would the world look like in 10 years if everything was the way that you see fit? Socially, politically, economically, world order. Casanova Ace.
Bo is an alpha, not a beta. Great educator. Got facts and figures and political data. When it comes to the moderates, he's an OG. Started with the movement, the original 3. And now with the movement, he does not cease. And like the members, he's all about peace.
But when I started the staunch moderates movement to address the great divide, the division in society. Birth, platform, manifesto, campaigning the primaries, vital societal issue forums, COVID-19 pandemic, George Floyd murder and then the riots, football, our Bigfoot mascot Staunch, a Wayne's World meets Howard Stern political talk show on SMN, also named Staunch, interviews, polls, the Bigfoots, the conventions, more football, the debates, the election, more riots, it's peace we moderates seek, it's all about peace.
Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities. Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities.
Bono's this and Bono's that. He's a Bigfoot when he's up to bat. Bo's always on time and hits the mark and knocking that ball right out of the park. Hits like pow, want your story now? Cause when the crowd sees him, they are like, wow. Try to fix the world, let the flag unfurl. We'll start to chill and everybody gets real. With love and hope, good health we cope. No virus and drought, floods and riots are out. Racism gone, good laws are on. Our legacy says the things we did. We loved and really took care of our kids. Created jobs, eliminated mobs. Our borders were straight, cause we managed the gates. Coming from Simmons and Persico. Come on, world, we're all amigos.
Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities. Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities. Fantasy or reality.
Peace we moderates seek, it's all about peace. When I started the staunch fantasy or reality, because it is what it is, possibility. Division in society, Socrates, birth, platform, campaigning the primaries, vital societal issue forums, a manifesto, COVID-19 pandemic, the George Floyd murder, and then the riots, football, our Bigfoot mascot Staunch, Wayne's World meets Howard Stern, World War talk show on SMN, interviews, polls, the Bigfoots, the conventions, more football, the debates, the election, more riots, it's peace we moderate seek, it's all about peace.
And knocking that ball right out of the park. Hits like pow, want your story now? Cause when the crowd sees them, they are like, wow. Try to fix the world, let the flag unfurl. We'll start to chill and everybody gets real. With love and hope, good health we cope. No virus and drought, floods and riots are out. Racism gone, good laws are on. Our legacy says the things we did. We loved and really took care of our kids.
It is what it is, possibilities. Fantasy or reality, it is what it is, possibilities.
Oscar, I am blown away, or should I call you Casanova? I know Mimi's calling you Casanova, but she always has.
Actually, if you pay attention, she's in the video and she's singing the hook.
What, Mimi's in the background?
Mimi's in the background, she's singing the hook, and she's in the video. If you look real good.
Well, Adam Liu just put everything together on the video. I'm going to have to go back and watch it when we're not in the middle of a podcast. But I mean, again, I'm blown away by your exceptional talent.
Thank you, man.
And that's why I've been glad to have you around since you and I became friends circa, I think about 2014, you and I became buddy-buddy. So 7 years we've known each other now. We've had some interesting adventures, literally all over the country when you think about it. We've been to some interesting places together and more interesting things to come as time goes on here in the world of Boston Wrestling MWF. But fans, that's just one of 14 songs that Oscar has put together. And like I said, I think a mini concert would be a heck of a lot of fun if we can put it together at the right event and Oscar's people think it's the right place for him to do it.
Well, like I said, now when, okay, well, like I said, you know, I'm gonna give you the information. Talk to my people. You mull it over, think about it.
If you do, you have information, Oscar, you'd like to put out for people that are interested in booking you to sing? Your contact information, or is there a person that people can reach out to?
Person, if you want to book me for a concert, call Gregory Simmons at GTS Productions. The number is 970-710-9025. That's 970-710-9025. That's Greg Simmons. Get Casanova Ace/Oscar to perform near you.
Wow. Well, there it is, folks. If you want the man on a mission to come and sing for you, have a full-blown concert, I think that would be a heck of a lot of fun.
No, but I just thought about it.
What?
My first show out there, it may not be a bad idea just to have it right there in the studio. Melrose Hall is too big. The record got to get more exposure to pack that place.
You want to set up a full-blown concert in this studio?
I think that would be ideal.
Well, you know what? I'm certainly... The price is right, you know. And you know what? You're talking about professional equipment, professional lighting, professional video. Maybe that would be the best place to shoot even like a demo, yeah? I think that's a great idea. But we can talk more about that off the air as, again, you continue to branch out. Now, does David Reese sing in any of these songs?
Nah, David Reese, I don't know. He don't even know about it. I haven't even told him about it yet.
Do you think that Reese raps?
No.
All right. Well, I just wanted to see your input on that. All right, no. Casanova, before we wrap up tonight's show, still a few more things to discuss. You talk about releases. We talked about the Big 13 that were beheaded by WWE and the NXT brand. But what about Nature Boy Ric Flair flying the coop? Gone.
Now,
stick a fork in him.
I'm a little confused about that situation. He got his release, but I did read he's still an ambassador. Is that the way it went? Or
No.
Out?
He pretty much was an ambassador and he's gone. And I tell you, from what I was told by friends within WWE, he was making more than a lot of the guys on the main roster.
Yeah,
so where WWE is in a cost-cutting type mode right now, I don't think they're going to lose much sleep about losing Flair, even though I think he's a great ambassador for the company. I think he's a great ambassador for the sport. He still makes mint beyond what he was making with WWE when he does those celebrity autograph signings and that car. I don't know if it's a car insurance or a window shield commercial that he's in that I've seen played.
The car insurance commercial.
So you know what? Nature Boy, it's well documented. He was not good with his money for the majority of his life. But here he is in his early 70s, and he's going to be a seven-figure man right now, Oscar.
Well, I'm better with my money because I have a miser for a wife that don't just let me splurge like I did when I was on my own. So,
well, that's what I need instead of Linda Marati. Do you think it's a loss for WWE, or do you think it's a guy in their 70s that doesn't have much left to contribute?
No, I don't know. If I'm WWE, I would have kept him in some capacity simply because of his legend. I mean, that is one of those other surprise releases that I'm trying to wrap my head around. I mean, that's Ric Flair.
Yeah, it is. It's Ric Flair.
So it goes back to me telling y'all, if they let Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, and then top-notch Ric Flair go, nobody is safe.
Nobody. I think that's a great way to put it. No, how could you not be walking on eggshells right now if you're in WWE?
Yeah, we used to sell. I mean, we used to walk on eggshells ourselves back in the 90s. Every time you went to TV, you didn't know if that was the TV you was going to, whether to find out you was going to get fired.
Right.
And that's
tough.
Terrible existence.
That's why you need a David Reese.
Yeah, because and no, that's not a joke.
I wasn't being funny. I was being serious.
No, you need a David Reese because the psychological state that it puts people in,
right?
They need somebody to talk to,
right? Like you said, every week, am I going to get there? Every time your phone rings and you see a 203 number 352 from Connecticut, you're probably very nervous.
Yeah, of course you're nervous because you don't know. I remember one time when I got to the building Renee Goulet told me to call Pat Patterson. I didn't, and I did. And as soon as he said that, my heart sank to my stomach. But right then, Renee Goulet, being the nice guy he is, it was like, I'll tell you why, and it was nothing.
Did he want to service you?
Nah,
all right.
No. They wanted me to cut a promo or.
Well, that was my second guess.
Yeah, it was something that they wanted me to do. But I'm just glad that Renee Goulet told me to call him, because I'd have went to the phone. I would have went to the bathroom first forever, and then I would have stalled, and then I would have dialed his number real slow. And as it was ringing, hope he didn't pick up.
Goes answering
machine,
yeah.
Then call back. And then when he did pick up, I would have heard, "We got to let you go," before I was able to hear. And that reminds me of a great story before we go.
Sure.
This is a good one. But like I said, Pat Patterson didn't want nothing. They wanted me to cut a promo. And I was just so relieved. I could have passed out right there at the phone booth. Now, I was in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a good one. I'm in Cincinnati, and I decided to spend the night in Cincinnati just because I was tired. I get a room.
Do you have a woman with you?
No, I was going to say maybe I'll find one.
Oh, all right.
I mean, this is Cincinnati. So I said, and then I was going to do some shopping. I was going to get an outfit that has spruced up. That's where I bought my WrestleMania outfit from.
Oh, really?
The leather jacket, the suede pants, and then I had those airbrush and customized. So that's when I went to Cincinnati. So I go to Cincinnati, and out the corner of my eye, I remember seeing this guy look at me, but I didn't pay him no mind. So I went to the counter and I said, where can I get a limo? Being flamboyant. And the lady looked at me funny, like I asked her, where can I hide a dead body? She was like, I don't know where you can get a limo. You can't get a limo. Okay. So I took a taxi cab. I took the taxi and I told the taxi I got to run some errands. So just wait for me here, wait for me there, wait for me here, wait for me there. All right. So I go to the store, I get my leather jacket, I get my suede pants, and then I got in the cab, and a guy opened the cab door.
Mm-hmm.
He opened the door, and I'm like, what the hell? And he flashed a badge. It was the DEA.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did the DEA want from you?
I mean, a bunch of cop cars and agents swarmed on the cab right there.
But why?
Because of the way that I was flamboyant and everything like that, I fit the profile of a drug dealer.
Really?
Yeah. And they searched the cab, they looked in the trunk, and everything like that. And of course, I didn't have nothing, but it was a real scary experience. I called and I told J.J. Dillon and Jerry McDivitt, the WWE's lead counsel, called me to ask me about it because he said that I was lucky because they have a habit of planting stuff when they don't find nothing.
Right.
But when I explained to the guy who I was WWE, all that other kind of stuff like that. That probably gave him pause from doing anything nefarious because they know if I was just a regular black guy, they might have did it.
It could have been trouble. It could have been trouble.
But when I told them who I was, if they was planning something like that, they didn't do it because that was going to be a whole nest of problems, for them.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it worked out all right. That is a very interesting story. Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out, too. That's just a cautionary tale. People, just be careful.
Just be simple words. Just be careful.
Let's be careful.
All right, Marty. Marty. That man is always on my mind, that crazy guy. But, man on a mission, let me ask you this. We had a couple of losses in the world of professional wrestling this week. The legendary Jody Hamilton, the assassin. I don't know how familiar you were with him from when you were down south.
Yeah, no, I ran across the assassin at Cauliflower Alley a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was one of the great heels of his generation in the different territories he worked. Probably not going to go down with the fame he deserves because he never had a run in WWE. He did run the Deep South developmental territory at one point, and I think he wound up suing WWE because they shut it down kind of out of nowhere to bring it down to Steve Keirn in Florida. Again, that's a different story for a different time.
Oh, Steve Keirn with Mike Graham. That is one of the premier tag teams that I don't think gets the historical recognition they deserve.
All right, well, you're giving it to him. You're giving it to him.
Yeah.
Also wanted to note that we lost a guy that I was very, very, very impressed with as a very young fan when I began watching the King of Sports Professional Wrestling. One of the great tag team wrestlers of any generation. I think he belongs in just about any Hall of Fame that exists. Again, if he came around today, I don't think he's someone that WWE would really give a look at because of his physique and his verbal ability. But as far as his in-ring goes, about as good as it gets. We're talking about one half of the Midnight Express with several different partners.
Bobby Eaton.
Beautiful Bobby Eaton. Your memories of beautiful Bobby, Oscar.
My memories of beautiful Bobby Eaton, I think I met him once. I met him in North Carolina at a convention, but I did grow up watching the Midnight Express. Their matches were spectacular. Jim Cornette enhances anything that's going on.
Yeah.
And they were a tag team package that knew the art of being a tag team.
Exactly.
Everybody, you can't put two guys together and they're going to have chemistry, know the art of being a tag team. Everybody's not going to be Hawk and Animal.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be it. Everybody's not going to be that. Hawk and Animal knew the art of being a tag team.
Yep.
And I'll say Mo and Mabel had chemistry, knew the art of being a tag team. The first match I ever saw them do, they were doing double moves and all that other kind of stuff like that in sync, like a well-oiled ballet dance, almost, to put it like that. And that's what the Rock and Roll Express was, the Midnight Express, and I can go on and on and on, with a bunch of tag teams that just, and not that BS list of 50 of the best tag teams ever, because
you don't like that list.
Half of them don't even belong.
Well,
it ain't even the fact that I ain't on it. It's like I'm looking at the list. If I'm looking at the list as a fan, and I'm looking at the list and I'm going like, what?
I think
what?
At some point I think we should dedicate a special episode just to the top 50 list and go through them one by one and get your opinion on them. I know we made it to the very low, maybe high 30s, and you had enough.
I told you that was a sore spot for me, and it's not something I really want to talk about.
Well, maybe we should have Reese here with us.
As a fan, not even as a member. It's not because it's me or my boys or anything like. As a fan, I'm wondering how the hell they didn't make it.
Well, that's why I think it would be interesting to go up and down the list.
And I'm starting to believe there's like a blacklist situation going on or a blue list situation going on that I've just never been informed about. I say a blue list because when I call, I get merchandise for events I'm doing. When I call, I will get comp tickets until now because they said they're not really comping tickets right now because they're just coming back. Okay, I respect that. But for years, I've gotten anything that I've asked for, anything I've asked for from the company, but never invited back to do anything. Wrap at what do you call what do you call a little convention that go on?
Fan access?
Yeah, Oscar, come wrap at a fan access and, all that other kind of stuff. Like when I asked could I come do it, What's his name? The guy I can't even stand. He's gone now.
Mark Carano.
Oh my God! He was like, "No, we're okay."
He just gave you a flat out no.
He just gave me a flat out no. So that's why I'm thinking that there's something going on. And I'm gonna tell you another reason. This is why I know it's something. I asked Howard Finkel, and Howard Finkel was like, but it's not something I can tell you.
It's a secret.
Yeah.
Huh. It's not something I could. Howard went to his deathbed with this secret.
Yeah, Howard went to his deathbed with the secret. He wouldn't tell me.
Well, now you get me curious.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. All right. Well, Oscar, we're running out of time on this episode. Again, always great to have you after WWE Monday Night Raw. The numbers are picking up. We love it. We ask you fans if you could please share the link to this show across the social media platforms you use, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Facebook wrestling groups. It helps.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
Whoa.
One more fact.
Oh, what do we got?
Yeah, I've been seeing some of the YouTube numbers. They're pretty impressive.
Sometimes it almost seems like it depends on the episode. I don't know, but I want to see them up. I want to see them up at that high level every week. Our goal is to keep Wrestling Legends working. We want this show to be so successful. Instead of doing it podcast style, we fly Oscar in once a month to tape some episodes. I think that would be fantastic, but we can't do it without your help, folks. Again, the Boston Wrestling eBay store is open 24/7. Great wrestling collectibles from superstars of every era.
One more thing, Dan.
Yes.
Don't hang up after an opportunity has come up. And I need to talk to you about it.
All right, I will not hang up once this episode is over. I do want to remind fans that if you want to be more than a fan, if you want to be more than even a friend of Boston Wrestling Sports, join the Boston Wrestling Patreon family for about the cost of a cup of coffee. Help keep Wrestling Legends working. Enjoy literally hundreds of studio shoot interviews with dozens upon dozens of superstars. You can find that at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. And more than anything right now, if you're in the Northeast, fans, mark the date down on your calendar as Boston Wrestling celebrates its 20th anniversary as we go back to the 80s for WrestleFest. Saturday night, November the 13th, from the historic Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Maybe we won't have to deal with Piggott. That would be fantastic. That's a different story for a different time. But what we will be dealing with, what about America's hero, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake Roberts, Axe and Smash Demolition, Marty Jannetty? On SummerSlam Saturday, we're going to announce a 6th featured 80s legend. And then at that point, the ticket prices are going to go up a little bit. So if you want to get those discounted, all-inclusive VIP packages, if you want to get discounted event tickets, head on over to BostonWrestling.com. Now they are flying, especially if you want to be a VIP. If you want to sit up close in the first or the second row, I implore you, get the VIP tickets now. Those are selling great because you fans want to meet these 80s legends. You want to go back and relive your childhood. You want to be your version of old Dan Marati when he'd go to the Boston Garden as a young 5 or 6-year-old to see Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and Jake and Duggan and Andre and the Warrior and all the superstars of that generation. Again, BostonWrestling.com. Let's keep independent wrestling thriving, because beyond being able to meet these wrestling legends live, close up, and in person, we're going to have a ceremony for the 80s legends and a hot night of in-ring action with some of the finest independent athletes in the country, not just the area, but the country. We thrive to give you variety and the best. For my partner in crime on Monday nights, the man on a mission himself, Oscar, I am Dan Marati. We will see you tomorrow night with another Tony Atlas at Your House Classic. And again, don't forget, you guys like the live streams? We're going to do another one. We're going to go live Sunday night at 7 p.m., and we're going to relive SummerSlam 1989. Feel the heat. We hope you can join us. It's a great way to interact with you guys live. Every time we have a premiere, it's always fun to chat in the chat box, but when we can get up close and personal in real time with the real face, I think that adds to it. Again, folks, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You and yours be well. We'll see you next week Good night from Boston. Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.